I'm Laura McKeeman. This is Cody Jones. We are here in the swamp after the 34-12 win over Miami of Ohio. Not exactly what was expected, maybe. Maybe people expected more of a blowout, but you know what? As Urban Meyer just said, a win is a win, and that's what they've come away with. We just heard from Urban, and he kind of said, you know, look, I expected a little bit of iffiness from both sides of the ball, especially on that O-line. He said, you know, things have not been very consistent in practice recently just because of some injuries, some issues there, and they've just got a very young team. He said sometimes he had to check the roster to even see who was out there on some of the defensive plays. So, you know, they've got a lot of work to do. I think that's the theme of this post-game press conference.
The main thing they said also is that I think Thursday is kind of where they realized that last Thursday. So they've known for a week that this could be a little up and down, this game with so many young players, so many guys that really haven't seen an environment like this. So they knew it was going to be a little some inconsistencies with some of those guys. I think that was the big thing, is just trying to get guys experience. And I think all things considered, those guys got that experience, and they're certainly trying to build on it from here out.
He said if anything, this O-line will have a lot of depth when some of those starters come back. He said they do expect to hopefully get Xavier Nixon back next week, depending on his knee issue. Let's talk about Mike Pouncey, though. The snapping problems, something that I know I didn't expect to see. From all accounts that we've heard, Pouncey and Brantley have had a great understanding. I think, you know, just things did not go Pouncey's way, therefore things did not go Brantley's way, and you know, it kind of was a domino effect from there. What did you take away from what Meyer said? And then we'll talk about what Pouncey said after that.
Well, I think that the main thing with just everyone is the sense of surprise about it. They said that, you know, this hadn't been really an issue for him. Even going back to the spring, he was fairly decent at it, getting better. He improved throughout the spring, and apparently from what we were told, he'd improved throughout the entire time. He said, again, the ball a little slipped out of his hands, kind of, but wasn't really putting it off on that, but more so just kind of saying that there were some issues there that they're going to continue to try to bang out this week.
Yeah, he did say it felt a little slippery, so I don't know if he had sweaty palms or what, but he said he graded himself an F. He said he understands he will get better. He plans on getting better well before next week. You know, starting tomorrow, they're going to really be focusing on that, and he literally kept saying, Sunday, I am starting, I'm going to get better. So, you know, Brantley then came out and said that he really does trust Pouncey to get better, to really make those improvements that he needs to make, and Brantley said, you know, look, it didn't exactly go our way. Today was not our day, but they still managed to get the win, and that's in Brantley's eyes what I think is most important. He also said that he really understands what to do now, and I think you can't really mimic this whole atmosphere, the whole game time situation in practice. You can't mimic that when you come in halfway through the game or even way late in the game, which is what Brantley has been doing. So good to get those jitters out, and he said that he does feel like the team as an offense will even be closer now after this game.
I think the preparation is huge for him too. Not so much what happens on the field, but what happens during the week. Because again, you can kind of mimic that too. When you're the backup quarterback, you go through it a little bit, but not as heavy as when you're the starter. So he's had a week to go through that now. He's had a week to go through evaluating an opposing defense and seeing kind of what that's all about. So he's a little more comfortable in that with the things that happen off the field as well.
Okay, John Bostic came out and talked a little bit about his start there at that linebacker position. He said it was cool to get out there. Obviously, getting a pick was awesome as well. He didn't expect that, but he said, you know, he credits A.J. Jones for actually being there, missing a sack that then caused him to be able to get that interception. So very quick to give credit to everyone else, but he said that, you know, being such a young guy and getting that starting position was really cool. He had a great game today.
He was really active. I know we talked about it a little bit during the game. It seemed like he was everywhere. That interception, very impressive. You can tell the type of athlete he is for a guy his size. They really like that in the middle linebacker, the bigger linebackers, but a lot of increased athleticism with him as well. Obviously, everybody knows what Spikes did, but as far as pure speed and athleticism, you kind of think he's got an edge over Spikes in that. So really exciting times for those guys. As promised, all four of the linebackers were on the field almost equal time. Those three positions. So really cool to see that as well.
Okay, speaking of picks, Jeremy Brown got one toward the end of the game. Talking to Jeremy, he had rolled his ankle on Thursday during walkthroughs actually, and he said, you know, he thought he wasn't going to be able to get out there, but he said he toughed through it, came out today, wasn't really expecting to get as much time out there. Then Moses Jenkins goes down with what Urban said was an elbow issue that'll keep us updated on, and then Jeremy Brown's out there, you know, doing what he can. He said adrenaline kicked in. When I just talked to him just now, he's in a lot of pain. He says he's just going to be resting as much as possible, trying to stay healthy, make sure that he is good to go for USF.
Yeah, and I think it is a little shocking that we kind of thought he was going to be out, and then he kind of came back in, and I think he really had to be that good today. With Moses Jenkins going down, down. No, you don't really want to throw any of those freshmen out there in their first game in the swamp. So he really played well and toughed it out. Coach Meyer said he had some tears in his eyes today before the game. This was a very important game for him. It might not have been to a lot of players, but for everything he's fought through, just to get back on the field, I think was huge. And then with Moses Jenkins, Coach Meyer really didn't sound a little too optimistic at all about that. So I think that's going to be an interesting one to watch in the coming days to see how many weeks he may miss it or if he's coming back. But they certainly didn't sound optimistic about that elbow injury.
Okay, let's talk offense real fast. We did talk with Jeff Demps, and he said, it was great to get that burst run for that touchdown that he did get, but he said, he was a little frustrated, kind of getting stuffed a couple of other times when he really thought he had some holes or that something would open up. And Urban Meyer said that he was kind of expecting Demps to be a little bit more productive. And Demps said, look, I could have honestly gone a little harder during those times. So that was good to kind of see him, take that to heart and say, look, I'm going to go harder next time. Also talking with Amarius Hines, he said, we are not looking like a Gator football team right now. He said that they really need to get it together, and they get that. I think that just is the general theme for today, to be completely honest. Everybody's saying that. Trey Burton talked as well, felt good about his touchdown run, and Urban Meyer said that he felt good about that too. It's cool to see him out there, and cool to see that they're putting him on the field however they can get him out there.
And that's what we'd heard the entire time. He was all over the place. You saw it today at the fullback position, tight end, running back inside the quarterback, in the red zone. He really was all over the place and had some nice runs. You really like the dynamic he brings to this offense because, again, teams really don't know where he's going to be at. He can line up at tight end and motion back to quarterback, even throw the ball. I mean, he can really do a lot of things for this offense.
All right, Cody, so let's wrap it up. We got some work that they need to do this week, and they seem, by all accounts, ready to do that work. And we'll be bringing you lots of interviews, lots of stuff for the rest of the week, so keep it right here on FightingGators.com.